Right, welcome to this update video for both of the channels, for Striking Scorpion 82 here on YouTube and also for the Plus channel as well, just to give you an idea of what's going on, what to expect, upcoming games, and like the previous update video, I'll go through the factions, just briefly update you on the status of all the factions as well. There's been some shifts and changes, some progress made, so I think these videos here just to, I used to do it a lot previously and I've left off doing updates, so I think it's a good way of keeping people informed of what's going on. A lot of people say, well, when's this faction going to be ready, what games can we expect coming up next, and so on. So this is what these videos are designed for, is just to give you briefly an update of what to expect and some information and updates of what's going on. So I'll come to the faction updates in just a moment. I'll briefly go through them, but just some other things to cover. Season 7 then is well underway, so really enjoying having sort of more of a structured league to our 40k battle reports. It's been great fun doing that, and it's great to see armies sort of getting multiple wins and rising to the top of the league, and then that struggle for the different rankings and so on. It's great, and then I think that will become more and more significant, more and more fun and tense as the season progresses. You start to get a couple of factions that are starting to try and win the title, and then each game becomes really important, and then you'll have perhaps armies that are lower in the league that don't stand a chance of winning the league this time around, but they could, ruin the plans of those that are trying to win the top. So the games will start to have more and more of a significance, so I think it's a nice aspect to add to our season battle reports. And I'm sure most of you watching the battle reports also watch some kind of sports where it's a league based system, and so you know how interesting it can be when you have league games running and the fight for the title and so on. So I'm trying to bring that aspect into the battles that we play here, as well as just enjoying the games. There's also significance to each battle that takes place. So I've split the battles on YouTube and then on the Plus channel. So if you're enjoying the season battle reports on YouTube and you want to see more, then head over to the Plus channel. You'll find the rest of the season battle reports, sort of 50-50 split I'm doing. So if you want to see the full league and all of the action, then check out the Plus channel as well. And then Plus channel, it's 14-day free trial at the moment, so you can sign up and cancel at any time, and then you gain access to the entire library, and then you can leave your subscription running, or you're free to cancel at any time. I mentioned that in-depth painting tutorials. I have regular painting tutorials that I've made for everyone. They're here on YouTube. So say for Orks, for example, there's a painting tutorial for Orks here on YouTube. Just scroll down to the painting tutorials and terrain playlist here on YouTube. And then I've done more sort of challenging painting tutorials, or more difficult projects. Say I've painted an Ork truck as an in-depth painting tutorial, a Rhino for the Imperial Fist, sort of bigger projects. And I cover things like transfers and weathering, and lettering and numbering and so on. That's over on the Plus channel for in-depth painting tutorials. If you don't want to sign up to the whole Plus channel, I have made each of those in-depth painting tutorials available for purchase. A small amount charged for that, and you get that video and you can use that to guide you through painting the bigger and more difficult projects. Also been playing a new series, special battle reports, again splitting them on the regular channel and on the Plus channel as well. But we did part 3 and put it on YouTube, so the big game, 3,000 points as on YouTube for you to enjoy. I think it's gone down well. We do plan to do more, so keep a lookout for those, but that's been exciting. That combination there, we played Red Scorpions, Primaris Space Marines versus the Eldar. We played 3 parts 1 and 2 on the Plus channel, and then the culminating, the final battle, we upped it to 3,000 points. We brought in the super heavies and had a big bash with that. It was a really good game of Warhammer 40,000. So enjoyed putting that together and hope to do more of those special battle reports. And they're special battle reports because we try and play these games and bring in these Forge World units. So they're sort of left on the shelf. They can be at times more neglected units, but still, ones that look great in games. So we tried to incorporate those into some games of 40k. Some of you have been asking about terrain tutorials and so on. I've started to do some more, as you noticed on the Imperial Guard, or the Imperial Propaganda posters, how to paint the gamemat.eu terrain. I do plan to do terrain tutorial for these, not this particular building, but this colour scheme for your AdMech terrain. So keep a lookout for that. Do plan to make that quite soon. And then other terrain as well. I do have things in the pipeline. How to make the chain link fences. People have been asking about those. I plan to make that tutorial in the future as well. So I'm not going to plan not to neglect the terrain tutorials, but keep those coming in as well. Then one other thing, people have been asking about Apocalypse. Is there any Apocalypse planned? The answer is yes, we do plan another instalment of Apocalypse to feature here on YouTube for everyone to enjoy. We're hoping to play a combination we've played before, but it's literally been years since we've played it, so one of the all-time classics. But keep a lookout for that, no more information. But James has been busy painting up a certain faction to get them to match the fluff, the structures exactly as they should be, and we plan to use that in a game. I can't give any more details away, but keep a lookout for another game of Apocalypse in the not too distant future, all being well. So factions then, just to briefly run through these because there has been some changes and some updates and so on. So Space Wolves, first, no particular order here, but Space Wolves, really don't want to neglect these. They're beautifully painted by Siege Studios. I've had to update them for chapter approved, and to try and adjust to the hostile environment that is Warhammer 40,000. So I proposed a brand new list I've just finished filming a brand new list for the Space Wolves. That'll be on the Plus channel. That'll be an army development video, so that'll give you an idea of the new list. And on the Plus channel you can leave your own comments and feedback and help shape and change the list before it appears on YouTube. But I want to fast track these, so it's making use of the models that I have and then introducing some new and exciting models, but just sort of a handful of them to try and get these onto the table, because we really want Space Wolves to get out there as soon as possible and start shredding other armies to pieces. So they've had a rough ride so far. They were humbled by the Tower in previous games, but there's so many combinations for these that we want to play, like Space Wolves versus Thousand Suns, for example. What a cracker of a game. I'd have to do that as a double episode, I reckon. Space Wolves versus Orks. Another superb lineup as well. So it's an exciting faction, and the list I have, nice sort of fluffy competitive sort of style for the Space Wolves. So some people ask us, say, what do you, are you competitive or fluffy? It's sort of the balance between the two. So try and make armies that are as competitive as possible, but I still try and keep them within the fluff, so that when you see the army laid out you think, yeah, that's a good representation of that faction. So it's easy just to go on Google and type up best Space Wolves army and then just copy what the standard tournament list is, but I don't see any fun in that, and it doesn't bring much variety. So I try and sort of invent my own kind of lists. I do spend ages and ages going through the codexes and trying to make them as competitive as possible, and yet try and keep within the bounds of a fluffy kind of look. And so yes, sometimes you'll see lists that get slaughtered, but then we learn from that and grow them over time. So some of the lists just turn out to be quite competitive. Eldar here, for example, a strange, quirky sort of list, but it's just working really well at the moment. So Eldar Army's finished. Played a lot of games of these now. The special battle reports, plenty of Season 7 battle reports of them as well. So played a lot of games. They've made their mark for sure. They are in the lead now. They are ahead. And so this is the standard to try and reach, the pesky Eldar, which a lot of people don't like them, but judging by the comment section, but they're the ones to beat here at the moment. So could they ascend back to glory? They used to dominate in previous seasons, then they were decimated in Season 6, and then now they're making a massive bounce back. So what a twist here to see the Eldar making a comeback. So they have slaughtered armies so far a number of times, so great to see them making a comeback here. If you want to keep track, there is a league table. Should have mentioned this at the start. It's by one of the subscribers, Phoenix Reborn, so great job from him. He has maintained and updated a league table. The way to access that, if you're on desktop, if you scroll to the top of the page, on the right hand side you'll see a couple of links, but there is a link to like a Google page, and if you click on that it'll take you to the page, and then there's a list of all the characters and their deeds. It'll give you a list of all of the defeats and points scored and so on, all a nicely organised league table, so you keep an exact track of who's at the top. and who's in the middle and who's at the bottom and so on, and how that changes throughout the season. So check that out. But it's just a link there, you'll see it there, top of the page if you're on desktop, and the link, you can click on it. It takes you to the Google page for the league table. That's the Eldar doing very, very well at the moment. They're flying along. Wonder who will be able to stop them. But it's still early days yet. Orks, again, off to a flying start. They've done very, very well. They've suffered a couple of defeats, but they're there to contend to be crowned champions, definitely. If they keep going, then they're doing very well. But the army's finished, and great to see them up and running. So really, not too much to report about them, but they're just pressing ahead with their games. The Blood Angels have played a good number of games. I would say it's hit and miss with them. Some games they've won, other games they've come close to winning, and other games they've been hammered hard. So I don't think it's a complete whitewash, the Blood Angels. I think they've given a good account of themselves. And the armies they've been up against, to be fair, has been the Orks and Eldar mostly, which are armies that are, the two most powerful armies on the channel at the moment. So not going to panic with the Blood Angels. I still rate the list, especially if you've been able to watch all of the games that we've played. Then you'll see that the Blood Angels aren't too bad. But a lot of people leaving suggestions and changes for those. But I'm quite happy with the list. I do have a collection where I can start introducing units. So you may well see some games where I start to experiment with them to try and try out some new units, like Death Company, for example. Death Company Dreadnought. Might try and bring those in, perhaps, into some of the games, the Blood Angels. So I've been listening to what people have been saying about them. Then next, the Adeptus Mechanicus. I mentioned James as well, actually. James is Astra, Militarum, the Imperial Guard. He's been working on the structure of those, but they're all ready for action. We hope to film some games of them soon. And then the Ultramarines. James is busy painting up brand new models from the Shadow Spear box set. Hopefully we'll get to see those in games soon as well. So exciting times for the Ultramarines. Both of his factions getting ready to let them make their mark on the league table as soon as possible. So for those of you that have been asking, when are the Imperial Guard and the Ultramarines going to make an appearance? Hopefully soon. AdMech, I've proposed an update for them for chapter approved. It literally involves a couple of new models I need to paint for them. Maybe about 7 or 8 models to bring them up to chapter approved. Major points reductions for them, and a massive improvement on the list for those. But these won't be around for a while, I would say. I've got to paint some new models for them. Imperial Knights, the army's about 3/4 done. I'm waiting on one more model to come back from Lego Fingers. He's painting this army on commission, so when that unit arrives, I think there's literally one more model to paint, and the Imperial Knights will be ready at 2,000 points. That's an exciting time for them, but just literally waiting for the next model to arrive on commission from Lego Fingers for those. In the meantime, I may play a few games with these and some allies, perhaps. We'll see. Next is the Thousand Suns. So Thousand Suns affected quite significantly by chapter approved 2018, a lot of points reductions, but they are, this is the update here, these are finished because I've painted the third Mauler Fiend for the Thousand Suns. So unit complete here. Now I've got 3 of these to terrorise the opponent on the battlefield. So that was a simple update to make, just add in an extra Mauler Fiend to bring the Thousand Suns up to chapter approved 2018 points levels. So really happy to have another one of these on the board. Hope to film some games soon with the Thousand Suns. So that's project complete. Great to see them finished off and ready to go. But do want a nice lot of variety for our games this season. I'm going to try my best not to let factions be put on the shelf, but to have like a nice spread of everything. I think it'll add a nice lot of flavour to the league. I'll bring out Space Marines here. So there's 2 here, Imperial Fists and Red Scorpions Primaris Space Marines. So good news for Imperial Fists, the army's finished. I've managed to get the new models painted up, some upgrades and adjustments and so on, brand new lists put together. So on the verge of filming some new games with Imperial Fists. Great to see Imperial Fists making a comeback and have a revamped and hopefully a better list, but some tough armies for them to face for sure. So some tough games ahead for the Fists, but hopefully they'll do well. Hopefully, we'll see. But untried as yet, but that's them. Now for Red Scorpions, I've made the decision to put my Red Scorpions on hold for now. So for two reasons. First is that the Shadow Spear releases are going to disrupt that. I'd like to bring in some of those new models into my list for the Red Scorpions. So I'm going to push those further towards the back of the queue. But the good news is that Tom Covey, who's been playing, it's his Red Scorpions in one of the Challenger Scorpion games, and his Red Scorpions being used in the big 3,000 point Eldar versus Red Scorpions game. That's his army being used there. So hopefully if it works out, Tom can come into the league and he'll represent the Red Scorpions and Primaris Space Marines with his list, and so he'll feature in the league. So there's a chance then for the Primaris, along with James's as well, to be well represented whilst I'm busy trying to paint up my own Red Scorpions. So he'll represent them, I think, for this season. I think that's the way we're going to work it out. I'm not entirely sure, but I think that's the way we're going to proceed with that. And it also means that if I push these to the side, the Red Scorpions, it'll make way for my attention to be put towards the Harlequins. I desperately want to see these painted up, because any Harlequins versus anything I think is going to be a great game. You know, Harlequins versus the Ultramarines, you know, visually amazing game. Harlequins versus the Thousand Sons, you know, amazing game. Harlequins versus the Imperial Fists, the Space Wolves, any of those kind of combinations, I think it's just going to be like really good fun games to play. Very strong play style, visually one of the most striking armies there is, but it's going to require a fair bit of work. So that's why I want to sort of just temporarily push the Primaris Marines back and then try and focus on these if I can, and at the same time trying to update these other armies. That's the plan, but I want to try and make these feature this season if possible. A lot of work, but that's what I hope to do. Then for the Tau, literally one model to paint. It's a ghost kill, and then these will be up to chapter approved 2018. So really just trying to fast track as many armies as possible. They're all trying to get onto the league as quick as possible and to make an impact. Tau channel champions, I can't leave them on the back burner. These have to be out fighting as soon as possible. So literally one model, or 2 drones and a ghost kill, and these will be ready for war. These are the ones to watch. They're the ones that will cause trouble for everybody. Then the Jakari, I had a list for these. That I'm going to keep the general structure of it, but I've tweaked it to mean even less models to be painted up. Trying to again rush these, fast track them to the board as quick as possible, but I don't want to throw out an army that's just based on old lists and I want to give them a good representation. So restructuring the army, some new models to add in, but it's less than what I previously proposed, trying to fast track these onto the battlefield as well. So keep a lookout for the Drukhari. You may well see some appearance from these in the near future. Necrons, I think with these I'll be experimenting with different lists. Not much else to add to them. The collection's there, and I'm going to experiment with different lists for them, so I'm happy enough with the Necrons. And then lastly is the Tyranids. This is the unit this is the army I'm fast tracking at the moment. I'm literally painting up these units. Are on the table being painted up. I literally have a few models, but this is a fast painting technique. I've got a brand new, completely revamped list for these, exciting lists. So it's on the Plus channel, seems to have been approved by the subscribers, and so they're looking forward to seeing this new list. I'm looking forward. It's a different approach to the previous. If you check out the previous games, new list, some brand new units to be added in, which I'm painting up at the moment. So I hope to film some games of these quite soon, actually. So exciting there for the Tyranids as well. So that's the update. As you can see, a number of the factions have been rounded off and completed, so you can look out for them in games. A number of others close to being finished, and some others are fast-tracked just to speed up the process of getting them involved in battles as well. But there's a lot of factions available. and I think, well, why not just try and make the use of all these different factions that are out there to get them involved in games as soon as possible. It means there'll be a nice flavour of battle reports for everyone to enjoy. But there it is, that's the channel update, just to give you the latest of what's going on and what to expect. Thanks for all of your support, and keep a lookout for more videos coming onto YouTube here and onto the Plus channel as well. Thanks for watching, and actually, just to mention, if you want to keep up to date, updated with progress, like updates of new units and so on, then follow me on Instagram. If you make use of that social media, it's a very visual way of sharing what's going on. And whenever I finish painting a unit, I'll take a picture, and it means you can just get a nice visual way of keeping up to date with what's going on. And if there's an important video, so like a big battle report, or a codex review, or a brand new release, like a review of a new product, I'll put that on Instagram as well, so you can be instantly updated of new videos as they're released as well. But there it is, that's the update. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time.